right, hopefully you have all had a chance to complete the short multiple choice quiz that you have. Um, we are going to go over the answers and we're going to talk about some of the internet safety must do's or don't do's. So for the first question, it talks about the information that you should keep private when you're talking to other people. The fact is that the internet connects you with people from all over the world. That's great because it lets you form new friendships, interact with people from new cultures, things like that. But it also exposes you to people that might want to harm you. It also exposes you to people who might not be who they say they are. So if you use on the internet identifiers like your home address, your phone number, your birth date, your school, things like that, you are helping someone that might want to harm you easily figure out where you are and how to find you. So unless you know exactly who you are talking to, that information should never be shared online and it should never be shared publicly. And once it is out there forever. If you don't believe me, look at Kanye West and Drake. Kanye West posted Drake's home address on Instagram, I believe, for about 2 minutes before it was deleted. And in that 2 minutes, a bunch of people took screenshots of it, and it is out there forever, even though he deleted it. So there's no telling whether somebody has written it down, recorded it in some other way. So you should never, ever, ever put personal information like that up on the internet. Going back to secrets, which we talked about a little bit in the first video, I said if your friend is doing something inappropriate or something that's putting them in danger, you need to tell an adult. The same applies for the internet. If they're having an unsafe conversations, unsafe personal relationships with somebody, if they're planning on meeting somebody that they met on the internet that they've never seen, if they're planning on going alone, you need to tell an adult. It's another situation where a secret can be harmful. If you do start to talk to somebody online, whether it's a friendship or a crush, you need to make sure that you have some caution with that. That person may not be who they say they are. People will use fake pictures, fake profiles all the time, and it will turn out that they are somebody completely different. Case in point, one young lady that I know, she's not from this area, she was 12 and 13, and she was in an online relationship with someone who she thought was a 15 or 16-year-old teenage boy, and she was sending him personal, inappropriate pictures and videos of herself. And it turns out that she was sending them to a man in his late 40s in Canada. That man was arrested by the FBI. So you may think that you know someone. She was in a relationship with this person for like 2 years. Fortunately, her family started going through her phone. Her family should have had access to her phone and been going through it long before that. And maybe it would have stopped a lot sooner. But you need to be aware that not everyone is who they say they are. If possible, if you start talking to somebody, whether as a friend or as a romantic interest, you need to make sure that you try to video with them as soon as possible to make sure that they are the same age that they have claimed to be. And if you ever go to meet somebody that you've met on the internet, you should never go alone. Your parents should always be aware of the plan ahead of time, and they should be the ones accompanying you. And you should have a plan to meet in a public place where you can easily escape from if that person turns out to be someone who is dangerous. Another example, one of my friends, her son, who is 16, has been in a relationship for a year with a girl who lives on the other side of the country. They met playing video games. They frequently talked on the phone, frequently FaceTimed, frequently chatted, and they decided that they wanted to meet in person. And in order to safely do so, his mom and her mom talked on the phone multiple times, and they made a plan to fly out to where she lived, but to stay in a hotel so that they had their own place. And his mother flew with him and stayed with him the whole time, and her mother was obviously with her the whole time. so that when they met each other for the first time, they were in an airport in public, and both of their parents were there, which kept both of them safe. So that's an example of if you've been videoing with someone and you're pretty, you're positive that they are who they say they are, and your parents are on board and have a chance to talk to their parents, then you can try to talk about arranging a safe meeting. But you should never just go alone to some place and meet someone that you've met on the internet. If someone threatens or bullies you or a friend online or in person, immediately leave it alone and just go and tell an adult. Don't really engage back. Don't keep yourself in that situation where you could be hurt or threatened further. You just need to go and tell an adult. Even if it's something that you shouldn't have been doing in the first place. Being worried about getting in trouble should not ever be your first priority. Keeping yourself safe should always be your first priority. Another example from my personal experience with some of the kids that I've worked with, one young lady was 13 and she sent pictures of her chest to a boy that she was talking to, and he shared those pictures with everybody in school. The police were involved. There was a restraining order involved. It took a lot of time for her to get over what had happened, and that's something that was a big teaching moment for her, but it's something that she can never take back. It's something that she can never erase. So it's very important, again, when it comes to respecting boundaries, when it comes to having good boundaries, and sticking up for yourself. Those things apply to phones, internet, tablets, that type of stuff as well. You should never be coerced into crossing any boundaries or doing anything you're not comfortable with, and nor should you try to get anyone else to do something that they are not comfortable with. So that will save everybody a lot of heartache, it'll save everybody a lot of hurt, and getting in a lot of trouble. So make sure that not only are you protecting yourself, but you are also protecting others. If you don't want to be bullied online, don't bully somebody online also. If you don't want to be hurt in person, like being pushed or anything like that, don't do it to other people. Golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. So in addition to keeping yourself safe, please contribute to keeping others people safe by behaving the way that you would expect people to treat you. So this is a good start to a conversation, but it's really a conversation you should be having pretty regularly with your friends, with your parents, with your peers, just to make sure that you have a plan and that you're comfortable with the topic. I think a lot of people think that the topic of personal safety or of abuse is kind of taboo. It's something that you don't like to talk about. It's something that can be uncomfortable to talk about. And all of that is true, that it can feel like that, but actually the best thing you can do is to talk about it. Because kids and parents who have open communication and talk about these types of things regularly are way less likely to have something bad happen to them, because they are comfortable with their rights, they're comfortable with their boundaries, and they're comfortable talking to an adult about anything that happens that makes them uncomfortable. So I am urging you all to be one of those kids that has open lines of communication with their family and that it knows exactly what to do if something happens that you don't agree with, whether it's to you or to somebody else. So have that conversation with your family. I know it might be tough. I know it might feel a little weird, a little uncomfortable, but it's a conversation that has to be had to keep you safe.